Hey guys, welcome to SLT Learning, and this is Ankit Prajapati, and today we are on a part 5 of the Playwright interview question and answer for automation engineer job role. Okay, so far we have covered 14 questions, and now we're gonna cover another 10 questions, so total will be 50. So let's go and see what we are gonna cover in this part of 5 of interview series. Okay, so these are the list of questions that we're gonna cover today. So how to handle the authentications, what is network interceptions and why it is useful, how you do UI regression in Playwright, how you integrate Playwright with the CI/CD pipelines, what are the benefit of using Playwright with the CI/CD, then common actions that we do in Playwright, then how to handle file upload and download in Playwright, then how to compare screenshot, and how what are the type of the inbuilt reports that we have and how we can use them, type of weights we have, and how the auto weights work in a Playwright. Okay, so these are the list of questions that we're gonna cover today with the syntax. So let's first go with the how to handle the authentications, right? So in Playwright you can handle the authentication in server way, like it's depend on what type of authentications you are working with. Okay, so if the basic authentication like HTTP authentication, then you can pass the credential in the config file and you can utilize them in your automation code. If it is a form based authentication, then you can manage by using the locators and passing the values like fill the username and password. You can manage those kind of authentication like this way. You can see it over here. Okay, then saving and reusing the authentication file, that we have seen this one, right? When we are talking about the context and all those things, how to utilize the saved information like the storage states and in term of the authentication.json, where after the login you can create this file and you can store those information in auth.json, and then you can read the auth.json and you can get the information, and then you can go to the specific page of the application like after the login dashboard page or something like that. Okay, then token based authentication, so JWT or session token you can manage. If you're working with the API or something like that way, you can just put that under the local storage or cookie, and then you can utilize those token into the authentication part. Okay, so these are the four way where you can just manage the authentication in Playwright. Okay, what is network interaction interceptions and why it is useful? Okay, so network interception is the features in Playwright that allow you to interact and modify the network request. So whatever the I will just say is the request you are sending from your machine to the server, right? If you want to modify or if you want to do some modification before further processing, you can use this particular concept to like the network interceptions in a Playwright. Okay, this include the request of HTML, JavaScript, CSS, image, API, and all those things. So all those information you can retry, modify, and update before processing further. Okay, so the first use will be the mocking the API response. So when you receive the API, okay, when you receive your API response, how you can I will just say mock means how you can modify and how you can represent that information. You can use like this way: content type application JSON status. This is the response information body. Okay, so this will be the coming as a part of this particular API response. Okay, so you can modify and mock the API response. Block the request. Okay, if you want to block the request from certain I will just say the resource like ad tracking or image kind of things, how you can block? So you can just say await page dot route, and this is the information that you want to block, and when it find this kind of information like an image file, then it says route dot abort, means it will be stopped, so it will block those information to go further. Then modifying the request. So when you are working with the API data kind of things, right, route and resource, then what you can do, you can modify the request information, you can modify the header information and method and payload, and you can just send them in a across the API kind of things. Okay, then testing error handling. So how you can handle the error? So suppose if you in a response, if you found this status code, what kind of body information you will have. So if you want to represent the or you want to log this information under the log file, okay, then you can utilize this particular response. What will be the status of the response and the body information you can represent in a your I will just say the log file to trace or to debug your application failure. Okay, then record and replay the traffic. So intercept and save the response during the real session, then utilize is to just do the same thing again. So that will help you to see the how the real data was like mocking the real data without hitting the actual server. So that those kind of things you can consider in this part. How to enable network interceptions. Okay, so you can use this route.request, so constant request route.request and console.intercept request.url and route.continue, or you can say abort or you can fulfill. So these are the three things you can do when you are working with the network interceptions. Either you can continue with that particular URL, or you can abort the URL, or you can fulfill the URL. So if you answer little bit like this way, this is the key area of this particular things, and this is the 5 way you can do the network interception. So it will be more than enough. Okay, how do you do UI regression in Playwright? So there are many ways you can where you can do the UI regression. Okay, by comparing the visual images and the screenshot and all those things when you are working on the your test case, and then identify the difference between them, and then you can work to do your like I will just say the defect logging and all those things. So the first things that use screenshot assertion, right? So when you're working with the UI regression, what you can do, you can work on the screenshot assertion. You can see the like the you can compare the screenshot. Okay, and you can make sure that particular screenshot have specific image or not, or specific element or not, right? So you can use this kind of assertion using the to have screenshot method. Okay, this to have screenshot method you can use expect way to have screenshot method, and you can do the UI regression. Another way, configure the screenshot threshold. Like this is the one of the things where you can just see if you want to configure the image threshold of your screenshot. This is what you can do. You can put like await accept page dot to have a screenshot home dot page and max diff. So what is the maximum? It's allow, like I will just say this is the deviation which allow with the current actual image and the expected image. If the little bit deviation is there, it will be allowed, it will mark as fast, otherwise it will mark as failed. Then baseline management. So this what is the baseline management? On the first run, Playwright save all the baseline screenshot in a test folder. That is considered as I will just say the bench, or I will just say the like the mark to compare with the next run. On subsequent run, it will compare the new screenshot against those, and if it found a difference, it will show the visual difference between the HTML report. Okay, so baseline, it will set up the baseline on the first run, and after that whatever execution you will do, it will be compared those screenshot with that screen to that particular things. Okay, run test and generate the report. So npx playwright test, this is the command you can use, and update snapshot. This will update and the screenshot and compare with the baseline and create the HTML report and add those information into the HTML report. Okay, and another way you can do the UI regression, organize the screenshot. You make sure when you are generating the screenshot, right, you give the proper file name based on the page and the section of the file, and give the test scenario name clearly, what on which device or what, or the I will just say is the resolution that you are taking a screenshot. So all those information you should store and organize properly, so you can do the comparison easily and you can identify the defect. Okay, so use the stable data for the UI regression. You can use the stable data. So avoid screenshot for the dynamic content like a timestamp and usernames. Disable the animation. If there is any animation, you can just go and disable those animations. Okay, fix viewpoint. Just make sure you can take the on each and every browser you can take the fixed resolution of the screen or viewpoint you can set up. Okay, so those kind of the things you can perform, and you can do the UI regression in a Playwright. How to integrate Playwright with the CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so the couple of things. First things, what you need to do, once you will have your code is ready, your git is ready, and everything will be ready, what you can do, you can set up this github action in a playwright.yml file. So you can create one workflow folder, and you can put this playwright.yml file, which gonna be used in a, I will just say, in a CI/CD tool, and where you can set up your jobs and where you can set up your steps and what commands that you need to execute when you perform the GitHub actions. Okay, and these things, once this part is done, you need to do this GitLab CI. So it's a command line, so you can create the GitLab ci.yml file. Okay, and install. So after that one, this is the way you can do with the Azure DevOps. So you can create this Azure pipeline. This is the different pipeline. This YML file is depend on the GitHub actions, GitLab actions, and the Azure DevOps. And once you install all the dependency, create your test script to the package.json and write your Playwright test. And these are the things. This is the Jenkins file. This is the pipeline. I will just Jenkins pipeline files which you can use. This is scripted pipeline, so you can utilize and you can see over command npm install. This is the command npm playwright install with dependencies. Then run a test. How you can run a test? This npm playwright test. This is what you can do, and this is where it's gonna store the report. So these are the different way you can utilize. You can structurize your file and save your in your folder, right, to integrate the playwright code with the CI/CD pipelines. Okay, so run in a headless mode. You can, if you want to run in a headless mode or parallel execution, retry, fail count, all those things you can configure in a config file, and you can set up the workers in the report, and then you can put those command under the stage steps, and these are the different commands you can put for each and every step in a pipeline file for the Jenkins. Okay, this is in a Groovy script. So you can also copy this code and you can set up in your Jenkins when you are creating the your pipeline. Okay, now what are the benefits? So this is not related with the Playwright, I will just say. This is related with the core automation. So whenever you work in a whenever you work to integrate your automation code with your CI/CD pipeline, it will give the list of benefits, and you can just go through this slide. This will give you the idea. I will read through for the major point, like early bug detection, right? So when you're working with the CI/CD, it will give the continuous integration and continuous deployment. So you will get the like the feedback on the test environment easily, and you can give it to the developer, so you can try to fix the bug before it's going to the production. Okay, it is consistent headless cross browser testing, so it will be very helpful when you have this automation in place, right? You can do the testing of the same test case with the multiple browser at the same time, so that is useful. It will save the time as well for you to do the other activities. Okay, automate the visual regression, like in a Playwright, you know how you can do the screenshot comparison, right? And you can find the difference between the two images for two screenshot of the same I would just say is the module. That will help out to do the, I will just say, that will helpful when it is got integrated with the CI/CD. So on the multiple server, it got executed. The faster release cycle, so whenever you will push your code, right, it will start doing the testing automatically, and it will send the report to your team, and it will update to the team. So it will be always to do the feedback and release on the subsequent I will just say is the environment from stage to test and test to production. Okay, efficient parallel execution. So when you running the test on multiple I would just say the multiple browsers, right, then you can split your CI, means continuous integration agent or container, in a different I would just say the different uh, browsers, and it will be give you the parallel execution report at the same time. Smart debugging tool, so generating the rich HTML reports in CI pipelines, and use the video, trace, screenshot, and artifacts that help you to debug the failed test cases. Then another one is the environment agnostic, means you can work on the Linux, work on the Windows, Mac, or any CI, any Docker based CI environment where the same script run locally, and it, it is very helpful and more consistent compared to the executing your script on the different Windows machine manually. Okay, mocking and network control, so mock API response from the frontline only CI/CD should, and avoid the freakiness due to the backend inconsistency of the data change. Okay, so that is one of the benefit. Improve development and QA collaboration, this is the general feedback. I will just say it give you the continuous feedback from the back and forth from the QA to dev or dev to QA, and that will help the create the good quality code culture in your project. Okay, and it's reliable for end-to-end testing. because it can take the multiple flow at the same time to simulate the real user experience, and that is the helpful. And that's why people integrate the CI/CD pipelines, and whenever the any tester is sending their code to the master branch, it will start executing the code automatically, and it's a very time savior, I will just say. And it's not related with the Playwright. You can integrate the CI/CD with the Selenium as well, and with the other automation tool as well. Okay, so you can always remember this highlighted point. It is more than enough to answer in the interview. Then these are the things they might ask you to write a syntax in the interview, common actions in Playwright. So maybe they will ask you, okay, how you navigate uh, from the frames, right, in a Playwright. So what you need to do, so you can write down the command like this way, like the page.frame locator we can use and provide the frame locators, and then you can just say frame.locate, and you can perform the action. The same way they will ask you, okay, how you can file upload and download, right, work in a Playwright. Then API testing, right, context request, what is the API request, or what is the syntax of the API request you can do. So this is the request dot post call, and this is the data body you are passing, and this is what the response you are looking. So I will just say a little bit syntax you should always remember. Even the smaller one, like the how you can type into the field, like using the field command and type command, waiting for the element like expect page locator to be visible. Few of the things you should remember. How the assertion work in Playwright, so you can just say you can import the assertion, and you can perform the assertion to have a text, to have a URL, and all those things. Then how you handle this drop down and select the menu, so you can just provide like this way, page dot select option, country, and in by value, by index, and all those things. Then screenshot, we all know, we have already covered the interview questions for this one, how you can take a screenshots. So you can use this method, page dot screenshot. You can provide the part, and you can take a screenshot, and then you can compare it as well. Okay, so few things you should remember as a general common actions in Playwright. They might be asked you in an interview, because they are the small things, and they expect you to know the not the syntax, even though you know the command. So these are the commands, whichever in a blue, these are the commands that you should know. Okay, when you are working on the check and uncheck with the toggle button, this is check command you can use, and all those things. How to handle the file upload and download in Playwright, this is the one we can take it separately. And to file upload in Playwright, you can upload the file using the page.set input files. This is the command you can use to input the file element. Okay, so what you can do, so you can just simply just go to the URL, then you can just set up input file. You can provide the file x path where you want to upload, and this is the path from the directory of your local machine where you can upload the file, or from your project folder. Then once you will set input files, upload a file, then upload a multiple files. How you can do, so you can upload by on this locator, you can provide the multiple file for the comma separators. The file must be exist in your local file system. This is the file system, you see, path to file.pdf. So this file should be exist in your machine and works even if the input is hidden. So Playwright, so in this case, even though the file upload is visible, set to false, right, it will be ignore that particular things, and it will be upload the files. Then set download path globally. So how you want to download the when you download something, right, where you know to store all your download information. So you can set up your path globally in a config file. So if you want to define the default download folder for all the download in a context, you can just say await.browser new context, and when you are creating the new context, just says accept download is equal to true, and this will be automatically download all the files at the same location. Okay, file download in a Playwright. So how the file download will work, so Playwright provide a page dot wait for event, and this is the event download, which will handle the download of the any document from the page. So like this way, constant download wait for the event. So await promise dot all, promise, that means it will let all the event will be happen, and then it will perform the actions. Page dot wait for event download, wait for download trigger. Page dot click text, the action trigger the download, means click on any button which will be start downloading the PDF or something like that way. And this both the command will be finished because of this promise dot all, which wait all the actions should be finished. Okay, and save the to the custom path. So it just says await download dot save as on this particular path. Okay, optionally you can download the information, download.path, download.suggested file name. So those information you can also print in the console from the downloaded file, what is the file name and what is the information. So to upload a file you can use page.setup set input files, and handle the downloads you can just say page.wait for event and download plus save as, where if you want to save the file. Accept all the downloads, you can just make it accept download true in your context of your browser context. So these are the couple of things you need to remember when you answer the question related to the file upload or download in a Playwright. Okay, set input files, then wait for event, then comma, single bracket download, and use save as command. Okay, and to set up this one, accept download true in your context to download all the required files. Another one, like how do you compare the screenshot in Playwright. Okay, so compare the page screenshot, you can use this expect dot to have screenshot, this method. So like this way you are doing, you are importing the test and expect from Playwright test, then this is the test that you are working, you are loading this particular URL, then compare screenshot with baseline. So when it has been executed, it will be have taken the baseline screenshot. Now you want to do await accept page dot to have a screenshot, which will be home dot page, means the both screenshot will be matched, then and then this test case will be passed. Compare the element screenshot means you can locate the element, like logo element, I'm gonna locate it, and then I'm gonna compare it with the logo.png which is available in my system. Okay, update screenshot baseline. Now you want to update your screenshot, like on the first run it will take the baseline screenshot, but now suppose after 2 or 3 run you want to again take a baseline screenshot. So what you can do, you can just perform npx playwright test hyphen update hyphen snapshot. So it will be it will remove the older baseline screenshot and it will create the new baseline screenshot for the further comparison. Then how you can fine tune the screenshot comparison, you can use the full page and you can use this particular command, maximum difference in pixel ratio. What is the maximum different you can allow, and if it is more than 1% then it will be considered as a failure, it will not consider both the screenshot as a same and it will show as failure. Okay, an example of using it, like let's suppose this is the viewport you have set up, and you can compare like this way. This is the viewport you are setting up from your iPhone size, and this is what you can compare with the mobile homepage png. And if there is a little bit different in a mobile view, right, it will be check for the 1% different. If it is more than 1, then it will fail, otherwise the minor difference it will be accept and it will pass the test case. So how to compare a screenshot, there are the different way in a Playwright, which you can use the method accept dot to have a screenshot, and you can capture and compare the screenshot for your automation test. Type of inbuilt report in Playwright and which one you normally use, right? So most of the time we use the HTML report and the LR report if you have work, but these are the inbuilt reporter that you can see in a Playwright, and you know, right, where you can set up the reporter in playwright.config.ts using this reporter. And this is the things, list reporter if you want, then HTML reporter, then you can give the output folder for each and every reporter where when you want to open it automatically or you no need to open it automatically. So JUnit file, you can output files, so this is the JUnit file will be generated. So you can utilize like this way with the comma separated with the brick bracket, you can write down like this way this reporter code, and you can provide the output folder and what is the file name, and you can set up this kind of the report in your Playwright folder. Okay, so list, the dot, line, HTML, JSON, JUnit, learn report, right, and this will not generate any report. And GitHub report if you want to generate, then blob report you want to generate, so you can utilize these reporters in a Playwright. HTML report is most popular for debugging, like list reporter will be the default one, it will give the code by code. Then I will just say the dot reporter, this will send give you the report like a command line. Then JUnit reporter, then JSON reporter to create the custom dashboard for debugging, you can utilize like this way. You can also put in a command like this way, npx playwright test, then hyphen reporter is equal to JSON, or you can configure those things in your config file as well, which will be useful to generate those information. Okay, now let's we go to the next question, type of weights we support and how the auto weights work in Playwright. So most of the time in Playwright, that is I will just say is the advantage, okay, for the Playwright. That means the auto weight that we have for the different actions of the element, okay. So in a Playwright, you no need to provide the weighting mechanism, right? The system will automatically check for certain behavior. Like if you're working with the element, it will be automatically wait for the element to be appear, to be visible, then let the animation, if any animation is going on the screen, it will be wait for the animation or transition to be complete, then navigation to any page or any URL, it will be again wait, then it will be wait to see if the network in ideal state, then and then it will perform the go to operation. So those kind of action, right, you no need to provide the implicit wait like we do in Selenium or something like that way. It will automatically perform the auto wait and wait to perform the next actions, okay. So wait for the page reach specific load, like state is equal to load and document loaded or network idle. So this kind of command that we have, you can utilize, okay. Wait for the load state network idle means you can wait for certain state to be completed and then you can perform the certain action, okay. You can like this is not mandatory, but if you want to use the explicit wait or wait for certain condition, you can wait for it, wait for elements such as wait for selector, so wait for the selector to become and then you can perform the click action, or wait for locator to appear, then you can wait for locator to be appear and then perform the action. You can also set up the wait for timeout like 2 second or 3 second, but this is not recommended. But if you want to wait intentionally to your debugging, when you are debugging something, you can also says wait for timeout and you can put your time information, okay. But most of the time the Playwright will automatically wait for certain actions, so you no need to worry about when you're working on any element or any actions on a web page, okay. Let's very quickly see the summary. Auto wait built in for most of the action and most common. Explicit selector wait for selector or wait for some condition to be happen. Timeout wait means you can just set up the debug only. This is for the debug purpose only. You can wait for certain amount of time. Then load state wait means if you want to wait for certain state to be loaded, okay, you can use this particular command. Assertion wait means expect then this particular to be visible or to be enabled something happen to your area, then you can use that a certain wait. Then navigation wait means auto, this is automatically for click and go to actions. Navigation wait will be automatically depend on the auto wait for routing and navigation, okay. So guys, these are the list of questions that we're gonna cover in the at part 5, and if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon, so then when we upload the next video you will automatically get notifications. Thank you and keep learning and keep cracking the interviews.